Hello everybody. In this video, I'm going to talk about 5 bedrock churches of the Eastern group in Lalibela in Ethiopia. Then I'm going to wrap up the 11 famous churches of Lalibela. The Western group actually has only one church. The Northern group is made up of 5 rock-cut churches, and the Eastern group is another 5 churches carved into the bedrock. These 3 groups are connected via a tunnel. The 5 top-down rock-cut churches are Mercoreus, Amanuel, Lehem, Gabriel-Rafael, and Lalibela. House of Emmanuel is not only massive in size, but the surrounding volume of bedrock that needs to be removed is unreal. This monument is 12 meters tall, 12.5 meters wide, and 18.5 meters long. It is the only church with nice horizontal lines on all sides. Based on the simple scale, I'm guessing a rough estimate of 9,000 cubic meters of volcanic turf has been removed. If you pay attention to the side of the bedrock, you can see convincingly the mark of a machine that sliced it like butter. Look at the tunnel that ends up too high to climb down. Without recent addition of the steps, this exit will be useless for connecting the churches. I'm not sure why a bedrock was carved top down, but the volume of bedrock removed was only to get to the side. It has a dangerous cliff that makes no sense. In a crowded Sunday service, Christians might fall off this cliff. Instead, the church was carved into the side of the bedrock. However, it is these gear track marks appearing all over megalithic sites around the world that caught my attention. You have to wonder why a small populated area would want a church so massively high on the inside. For the amount of work to fit 50 people still makes no sense to me. The roof of this church is only 1/4 unfinished. This church is dedicated to Abbot Libanos, who was one of the 9 missionaries who went to Ethiopia in the late 5th century. Look at the massive amount of bedrock removed. I think it is disproportionate compared to the size of the church. It is an unfinished church. Looks like they don't need to spend 95% of the time carving volumes of bedrock and left it unfinished for no reason. This odd location has an odd shape to be called a church. I'm not sure how this is considered one of the 11 rock-cut churches. Lamu is god of fertility in Canaanite religion. Bethlehem is house of Lamu. Bethlehem is house of bread in Hebrew. There is a considerably strong belief that polytheistic religion of Canaanites evolved into monotheistic Judaism. So the association to the Bible is that bakery was done in this house of bread for worshippers. I highly doubt that, as there is probably no sign of fire, charcoal or wheat. House of Gabriel and Rufael is rather strange to me. The amount of bedrock removed doesn't justify the need. It looks like it was left dangerously for worshippers to come on a regular basis. If tool can leave tool marks, then this is definitely not ancient chisel. The site is so highly eroded, I think it is more than 700 years of weathering. In reality, we don't know anything about this church. It looks like a fortress. It is believed to be a palace in ancient times. It has striations we cannot replicate. It is too dangerous to have large congregation every Sunday. Probably because they use the original ancient text, it must be a church. In summary, House of Gabriel-Rafael, Abbot Libanos, Mark, Lehem, and Emmanuel in the Eastern group has a lot of mysteries and very little clue as to how it was made. In the Northern group, House of the Cross, Golgotha and Michael, House of Mary, House of Virgin, and the House of the Savior of the World are mysterious megalithic construction that have no evidence of human construction. The single, oddly isolated, and most magnificent of the 11 rock-cut churches is House of St. George. In my personal opinion, the amount of bedrock removed by hammer and chisel cannot produce the result of what I see here in 23 years. According to mainstream, Khufu's pyramid and Lalibela churches can be constructed in 2 decades. If that is true, Africans will have properties made of solid stone since 3,800 years ago. Based on these 2 monuments, Africans are by far the greatest stone builders in the world. If Africans were megalithic builders for almost 4,000 years, there will be no tukuls today. Why live in a pile of stone with thatched roof if making stone blocks and carving bedrock is easy? Well, that's all for today. Thank you for watching my presentation on the Eastern group of Lalibela rock cut churches, and see you next time. Tenenahu.